Hi, welcome to Tech Talk, a podcast where we invite technology experts and solution designers to talk about our latest technologies. Today, I have Zaineb Penwala with me. She is AI technical lead at Calsoft. Hi, Zaineb, how are you doing?
Hi, Richa. I'm good. Thank you so much for having me here today.
Yeah. Zaineb, would you like to introduce yourself to our audience?
Yes, sure. So currently I'm working at Calsoft as a technical lead in the AI front. I have about 7 years of experience working with machine learning, NLP, LLMs, and very recently with Gen AI as well. So I
Mhm.
have worked with many product-based companies and startups as well. And currently in Calsoft, I am leading an AI team with the development of our internal AI-based tools and projects.
Okay. So that's an interesting experience that you have. Zainab, you are an agentic AI expert, and agentic AI is becoming a buzzword these days. Everybody from a fresh starter to a very experienced industry leaders are talking about it and also want to adopt it. So I would like to understand from you, what are these AI agents?
So I would like to give a very simple analogy. Like how does a human work? So we have our eyes, nose, and ears or our sensory organs to perceive our environment. Similarly, in agents, the user prompts, the files, the database, or any kind of input becomes their sensory organs to perceive the environment. Then humans have brain to think about it and reason about what is happening in the environment. And we also have our memory or the context to retain what we have observed. Similarly, in agents, they are connected to LLMs, which act as a brain to them. So the LLMs help in reasoning, uh, retaining the context, what the agent has taken as an input, and like the humans react or give an output using hands or legs or our expressions. Similarly, agents use some tools or APIs to give out an output to process the entire data.
Mhm.
So, in simple terms, agent can be thought of a simple human being where it perceives the environment, uses the help of an LLM to think about it, and give out an output to the user.
So that's interesting to know. Are there also different types of AI agents?
Yes, so there are, we would say, different types of agents or architectures, you can say. So, like, there are reactive agents where the memory doesn't come into play. So, it is just a reaction. So, for example, if you touch something hot and you give out a reaction, similarly, if you give some input to the agent, it gives out an output without any thought or any memory. That's it. So, an example is like we can tell an agent that if the temperature is going below 30 degrees Celsius, just turn on the fan. Simple as that. Nothing else required. Then maybe we have planning agents and tool based agents. So the tool based agents use external tools or APIs to perform a particular task given by a user. So, for example, maybe an agent can be designed that check the emails and based on that schedule particular meetings. So here the tool-based agent can make use of external calendar or scheduler APIs to schedule the meeting based on the emails which is as given as an input. The planning agent. So here, before giving an output, the planning agent plans an entire execution step, and then it gives us an output. So it thinks about it, it reasons, it plans what step will come after what, and based on that, it gives out the output. Then we have two other types of agents as well, which are very popular. We have the hierarchical agents and multi agents.
Mm-hmm.
So hierarchical agents is very similar to a company organization.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you have a main agent which acts as a manager, and then you have sub agents which can act as team members. So whenever a user gives some task to this type of agent, so the manager divides the main task into subtasks and delegates these tasks to the sub agents or the team members based on their specific role or maybe specialization. Now, these agents work independently, complete their task, and give it to the main agent again or to the manager. Now, the manager will collate all the results and give the final output to the user. So that is a sort of a hierarchy.
Mm.
And then we have multi-agents or multi-agentic architecture, where multiple agents work together as team members. Here, there is no manager or sub-agents type of hierarchy. They can work parallelly or together, where they can share the inputs and the states to one another. So, for example, the output of one agent can be an input to another agent. So, they can work in a sequence as well. And they work collaboratively to give out some output which is requested by the user. So, they can work entirely autonomously or with some human intervention as well.
Okay, okay, that's interesting. So, Zainab, help us understand the difference between chatbots, agents, and agentic AIs.
Yeah. So yeah, right, Richa. Very well thought of that question. That what is the difference between these three? Because they are being used extensively in the market interchangeably, but it is very important to understand when to use what. So let's take an AI chatbot. Now, what it simply acts like, you ask it a question, it will give out an answer. Here, the chatbot also has an LLM integrated, where it has some previous knowledge, or maybe using a RAG based pipeline, you can feed in some additional knowledge as well. And it just finds or searches the correct answer in that knowledge base and gives you out an output. That's it, a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Second, coming to an AI agent, do some goal driven tasks. So, for example, if you're telling an agent that plan me an itinerary for an upcoming vacation and also book the tickets for the same. Now, here the agent will use some external APIs to go and search the website or different websites actually to give you the best locations to visit and on which day. So it can plan a 3-day itinerary for you. And based on that, it will also select the best selling tickets which are based on your filter and give you that, okay, these are the best 3 tickets, and ask a user feedback that whether should I go ahead and make the payment or not. So sort of a goal driven flow workflow,
Mm-hmm.
that is where AI agents come into picture. Now,
Mm-hmm.
an agentic workflow is sort of a thing where there are a team of agents which can complete an entire task without any human intervention, and maybe it can also eliminate the entire manual effort that is taken in some sort of workflows.
Mm.
So maybe one very good example I would like to share about this is an internal case study at Calsoft, which we are working on. So it is named as Caltia. So Caltia 2.0 is sort of an ID extension tool that we have built, and it is entirely based on a multi-agentic architecture, which helps the developers to generate test cases based on the entire code base, which is passed as a context to the agent. Now, what happens, like why this problem statement is a perfect example of an agentic architecture, multi-agentic architecture, is because whenever a developer needs to write test cases, they need to first of all study the entire code base.
Mm-hmm.
Post that, they need to understand that, okay, what type of different test cases are existing and what new types of test cases I need to write it. After the test cases are written, that person will need to validate these test cases. And if there are some errors, they will need to sit and solve those errors, go back and refine the test cases again, and then validate them again until and unless the required result is obtained. So this entire manual effort can be transferred to an entire multi-agentic workflow. So here the agents can understand the code base as an input, as we discussed earlier, that will be the environment it will perceive. With the help of an LLM, it will understand that what code is written where, what is the logic, and based on that, it can devise test cases or generate test cases. And with the help of a third agent, maybe using external APIs or external tools, it can validate these test cases. If it comes across any errors, it can resolve these test cases and give out the final output. So the
Mm-hmm.
entire refining part, the validation part, entirely can be autonomously done by the agents, where a human intervention is not required. And again, it is not a critical task where if something goes down, the production might come down. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, Zainab, why this matters for organizations to adopt agentic architecture?
Okay. So I would say that there are a lot of like in every organization, there are some tasks or some pipelines which can be actually automated instead of manually working for any employer, wasting our time there. Some of these cases can be automated entirely using agents so that the employees can focus on some critical based tasks where their skills or attention is required. So with the help of this multi-agentic architecture, the entire process can be automated. But yes, we have to make sure that we cannot plug in this entire agentic flow everywhere. So, for example, the case study which I mentioned, which is not critical sort of a thing, where if even if human intervention is not there or attention is not there, nothing is going to go wrong. Because once the test cases are written, always there is a human reviewer which will review the test cases. But for example, if there are some critical workflows where you have to make changes in some database or update or delete the databases or do some statistical I would say calculations due to which maybe some production grade outputs may be um, I would say altered in those. Instead of replacing that with an agentic workflow, it is still better to have a human in the loop workflow, which is currently going on in a manual basis. So that is a better option. So before thinking that should we, before just plugging in the agentic workflow everywhere, just make sure that whether your use case really requires this um, change or not.
Well, that's interesting. Before we wrap it up, would you like to address our audience with a parting note, like the key takeaways?
In our technological world, every day we wake up and there is a lot of new things coming up, either some new models or some new architectures, new workflows, and everything. Just make sure that just going behind the buzzwords and just applying them everywhere, make sure to understand what your use case is. Do you even need that or not? And then going ahead with the entire implementation or the deployment part. Because whatever may be the use case, sticking to your basics and understanding what works best for you rather than just going behind a buzzword or maybe some new technology which can maybe backfire you and cost a lot of time and effort to build the entire system. So yeah, have a thorough thought about what the use case and what fits better for you.
Yeah, perfectly said. Thanks, Zaineb. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for sharing your knowledge with everybody. And I hope you join us again sometime to elaborate on what we discussed today with more exciting things. And we would definitely have some questions from the audience post this podcast, which we can address in our next one. So, for everybody out there, thank you again for joining us. For any questions or any queries, please write us at marketing@calsoftinc.com. With this, we sign off.